today we're going to talk about this concept of increasing what you're making in sales right now into cash, because what I know is going on is that many of you have already hit 8K sales, 10K sales, some of you have hit 20K sales, but you're not actually bringing that home in cash every month, right? Which is totally fine. It's really, really cool, and I think that you should definitely celebrate the fact that you are bringing that money in sales. And I will tell you this before I share this out. I'm going to start sharing this out now as I talk. I actually think what gets under my skin, and hi Rosella, what gets under my skin is that is when people kind of devalue the sales that people are making. So they're like, don't talk about the sales, talk about the cash, you know, show us how much money you're actually bringing home and how much money is your profit. And like, I get that, because cash and sales is very different, and so is cash and profit. However, I think they're all worth celebrating and sharing and just feeling really, really good about. So in no way is this a live stream like that. I can promise you that. But I do want to talk about, what does it take to actually turn what you're making in sales into cash? Let's see if I can share this out really quick, guys. Here we go. Yeah, Rosella, I do too, you know, because I think turn 10K sales months into 10K cash months. Oh, I do too, Rosella, because I think it's great. When you hit 10K sales, that's worth celebrating. And then it's worth going, okay, now let's get to the next step of 10K cash. You know, like that's just your next level. You had to hit one level first. I mean, you could hit 10K cash first, but you get what I mean, right? Like, it's okay to hit that milestone first. So in no way is this like talking bad about people celebrating their sales months. However, let's get real for a second. And I'm opening up my notes. Let's get real for a second and talk about the fact that while having 10K sales months, or whatever the hell sales months, is great and worth celebrating and worth being proud of, I can probably guarantee that you want to be bringing more money home into your bank, right? Because who doesn't? Hi, Sarah. I wouldn't expect you to make any of that wrong. Of course. Okay, so let's talk about this first for anyone who's confused. When I say sales, I mean new sales, right? So September, I believe this was September. Yeah, September, I made 60K in sales in under 2 weeks, okay? 14 days, 15 days, something like that. 13 days, 13 to 15 days, whatever, right? 60K sales. However, what did I bring home in cash? I think somewhere between 15 and 18,000, okay? Because when I sign a 20K client, they're paying me 5K payments, okay? So a 20K sales week with one client is actually only 5K cash for me. So now that depends on whatever your programs are and whatever. And some people don't do higher end programs, so their sales and their cash are very equivalent. That's not the only way your sales and cash can be equivalent, but that's one example. But that's what we're talking about, is if I sign a new client, that's a sale. But how much money did they actually send to my bank that day? That's the cash. Cash is what actually hits your bank account, in my opinion. Cool. And then profit of your business, which we're not actually talking about, but I'll share that because I think not enough people actually share this, is how much money you have left over after you pay your business expenses. So if I make 20K cash in a month, but I pay, whoa, thanks Rosella, but I pay out 10K, let's say between my coach, my team, and all of that, which my expenses are a little less than that, but about that, to be honest, then my profit is 10K, so I'm bringing 10K home for me, or between me and my savings, right? Okay, so let's talk about how to turn your sales months. I'm going to scoot back because my back is feeling weird. How to turn 10K sales months into 10K cash months, or really, guys, apply this to any number. The first thing is to think about this. I actually have like, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things we're going to audit in your business. But let's start with this. Realizing that you bringing home 10K cash is not that big of a deal. And I know this sounds like opposite of what I was saying. Like, yes, be proud of it, celebrate it. I mean, that's amazing that you did that. But At the same time, I find that one of the big things that's holding us back from making the amount of money that we want to make is feeling unworthy of it, or feeling like it's this huge, like mind-blowing thing, right? So if you think about bringing 10K cash home and you're like, oh my God, that's so much money. Like, do I even deserve that? How would I ever possibly do that? Yada, yada, yada. That's going to get you really stuck, right? So what you want to do is realize how not big of a deal 10K cash is. And I do not do this to downplay people who are making 10K, because that's amazing. However, let's think about this. Taxes get taken out of that. So you're paying probably at least 1,000 of that in tax, 500 to 1,000 of that in taxes. And I might even be a little bit off on my math. It just depends on where you're at and how much profit you actually make. That's a whole other topic. But let's say you're spending 500 to 1,000 of that in taxes. You're probably giving PayPal or whatever payment processor you use 3% of that, which is, Rosella, help me out. I'm just kidding. Someone get their calculator out. But you're paying your payment processor, you're paying taxes. Now, if you have a coach, you may very well be paying 1,000 or more of that to your coach. If you have any team members, you're probably at least paying a couple $100. And then anything else, right? And then your bills. So when you think about it, 10K as a business owner is not that big of a deal. And that does not, I'm not saying don't celebrate it, or that you're crazy to even you're stupid for having that goal or whatever, right? Yeah, $300 of that 10K is going straight to PayPal's pocket. Okay? So I have someone sending me 13K to pay off the rest of their coaching in full, and PayPal's taking, I think, over $400 of that, or something close. And yes, guys, I know there's other ways I can do that to save a little bit of money, like an e-check or whatever, but we're not doing that, and that's okay. I don't mind paying payment processors. It's a part of the expense, though. So for me getting this $13,000, I was actually thinking of this. There was a time in my business where if a client was paying me in full, I would have stopped selling things. And not because I didn't want to make more money, or not because I didn't think I deserved a break, but I would be like, oh, if this client's paying me 10K, like when I first started signing 10K clients, quite a few of them paid in full. And I would stop selling, and I didn't know this, but it was a way of self-sabotaging, because I didn't believe that I could actually bring in more than that. So I wouldn't try to sign more clients, I wouldn't try to sell more courses, like I would bring in that 10K and then chill out for the rest of the month. And I still do that when I hit a high in my income. I will have those moments where I self-sabotage. It still happens, okay? Why am I talking about this? I forget. But, it was the realization of, like, how cool is it that I still am so excited to sell my course, and I'm still so excited about this one-on-one client goal that I have, that I'm continuing to sell and I'm continuing to show up, and that I give myself rest every single day and every single week, so I can't use that excuse of, oh, well, this client's paying me full and I'm already at 20K for the month, only a third of the way through the month, so let me just take the rest of the month off. Nothing wrong with taking the rest of the month off, but in the past I would have done that out of self-sabotage. So what's my point? My point is that when you make 10K not that big of a deal, and when you realize that you can make infinite amount of money in your business, you're not going to self-sabotage, and you're not going to get all in your head about how undeserving you are of 10K. Of course you deserve to make 10K months. Of course you do, because you deserve to be able to pay your rent. You deserve to be able to pay your bills. You deserve to be able to pay your taxes. You know, your clients deserve a coach who's not totally stressed out about her bills. And I always tell my clients, can't you just wrap your head around believing that the universe wants you to pay your bills? And even more so, that the universe wants the people that you owe money to, your coaches, the bill collectors, all of that, to be paid. I can easily believe. I think the universe wants people to be paid, like what they're owed. Settling mentality. Yeah, it's crazy that we do that. It's typical for most things in life. Totally, Sarah. It's so typical. So start looking at your big, scary goals that you feel kind of undeserving for, and go, oh my God, that's literally nearly nothing. But in a way that just allows you to go for it. Because 10K is so exciting and so huge when you are working for yourself and starting your new business. But in the grand scheme of things, it is just the beginning, you know? Cool. Oh, I actually even had heard one of my coaches say it where she realized that the amount of money she was making a month still seemed so big to her. So increasing that seemed so big. And then one of her mentors was like, billionaires or millionaires or whoever, like they can't even survive off of that amount of money like that you're making per month that you think is so huge and so hard to get past. There are so many people on this earth that cannot even survive off of that. Like that is literally a drop in the bucket. And that made her shift her mindset of like, oh yeah, of course I'm able to make more money than this. Even though at one point it seemed so huge and so exciting, like of course I'm able to make more. So I think of it like that. Okay, so here's the good stuff. That's like my little spiel on what has really helped me. But this is what I really want to say. Okay, people think increasing their income is about doing more. And that's what scares a lot of people. I don't know if you guys are making under 10K cash per month, and if you feel like you're already working so much, if you want to admit to it, you can say yes. No shame, because I was there and it's a habit of mine that I have to constantly every single day work at. However, a lot of people think if I want to double my income, if I want to stop making 10K sales and make 10K cash, I have to work more. Or what else can I do? What else am I going to sell? How else am I going to market myself? Right? Cool, Shauna. I'm glad that you shared that. So it's like we feel like that, and what's so cool is that we become unavailable to work more, right? So I made this decision, I don't know, over the summer, where I was like, I don't care if my income decreases. I don't care if I go back to 5K months, 10K months. I was already making 20, 30, 40, 50K months. I was like, I don't care if my income drops, and it did for a minute, but I was like, I don't care if my income drops. I am not available to work anymore. I'm not available to start adding more programs and adding more marketing. Like, it's not helping me, and I'm not doing it anymore. Sometimes I feel like people drive by and they look through my window and are like, what is she doing? But I made that decision, and I know so many of you guys have too, where you're like, I cannot make more money if it means I have to work even more. Like, I can't, right? Especially if you're a mom, right, Shauna? Or if you're a human being that needs energy to survive. So here's what it's really about. Don't leave when I say this, because we are going to get strategic. Do not leave, okay? This is good. This is real. This is what I wrote in my notes. People think this means doing more work, but it really means loving yourself and seeing your true value more than you do right now. Having 10K cash months is nothing about you doing more, working more, marketing more. All it is, if you're already making money in your business, okay? All it is loving yourself more and accepting your value even more. Shauna. Okay, are you guys with me? I think one of you guys left. Just kidding. I think someone's back on. Doesn't matter. But I like to joke about that. Rosella, you are so amazing. I so appreciate you. Okay, so I know some of you guys are like, okay, Taylor, what does that have to do with self-love? How does loving myself more make me more money? Is anyone kind of wondering that? Okay, again, for some of you are just hopping on, so hey guys, if you're here, 10K cash months has nothing to do, for those of you who are here late, we just dropped the truth bomb, and now we're going to get into the good strategy of what this really means. But I want to say it again. 10K cash months has nothing to do with working more or marketing more. It only has to do with loving yourself more and understanding your value even more. It's not even understanding your value, it's accepting your value. Okay? So how is that true? Because when you love yourself more, here's what's going to happen, okay? When you love yourself more, you're going to stop feeling like you need to do more and actually allow yourself to master what you're already doing, okay? Meaning you're going to stop not trusting yourself and thinking, what am I missing? What am I missing? What's the golden strategy that someone has that I don't? Or what's that program that I'm not selling that I need to sell? You're finally just going to realize that you have everything you need and give yourself the time and space to, Christine, that's only a tiny, tiny part of it that we're going to get into. You're going to give yourself the time and space to master. So this is what I see people doing. Guys, if you're guilty of this, just admit it. Put a yes in the chat. if you're guilty of launching something, it doesn't work or it doesn't go as well as you want, so you change your program and you do something else, and then you change your program again, and then you change your program again, or you launch something new, you launch something new, or or you do a new marketing strategy, you buy another course, you start learning more about webinars and then Facebook ads, and like, right? You are not giving yourself enough time to master. And it's only partially the mastering. It's two things. It's trust that this can and will work for me if I want it to, and also giving yourself the time and space to master. Okay? That's just one of the truth bombs I have for you. I have 4 more. All right, Christine, it's not just about those prices, girlfriend, but you probably do need to raise your price, which we're going to talk about next, I think. Okay? Okay. I love this stuff. I love it. Okay. Okay, cool. Next thing. When you love yourself more and when you accept your value, finally, then you'll realize, holy shit, I am so undercharging for my work. And you will double and triple your prices. This is what's going on in my course right now. Module 1, okay, I'm going to tell you guys about this at the end, but I swear I'm sharing good content with you anyway, but it doesn't matter, right? 3 women so far, 3 women that have admitted to it out of this course. Module 1 anyway, I'll tell you guys in a second. Module 1 was about fear and accepting your value and getting over all this bullshit, right? Only a little bit that we're talking about today. 2 of the women raised their prices to 10K. I think 3 of the women have doubled and tripled their prices. Okay, Christine, huge thing. I feel like if people aren't paying my current prices, then why would they pay higher prices? Okay. It's this. I had the 20K price point on my website for, I think, 6 months, and nobody bought it, okay? I didn't sign any private clients at that price. I was discounting my rate this year, okay? And then when I finally loved myself and owned my value, I sold 5 20K spots in 6 weeks. Right? It's bullshit. It's not real. That, Christine, is a fear. And it's what's going to block you because you're going to get skeptical of what I'm sharing. And you're going to be like, well, it works for Taylor, but it doesn't work for me because nobody's buying my current price point. Oh yeah, I get it because I've been there. Many, many times. It's going through this work that will change that for you. Guaranteed. Yeah, Shauna. And because here's the thing too, Christine, it's the same thing, and this is to everybody, but I love that you're chatting with me, so I'm going to chat right directly to you. It's this too. It's, what was I about to say? Taylor, oh my gosh, Rosella, I love you. Okay. It's because you're not believing in it either. And that's huge. And I know I always say this, guys, so I hate to put these beliefs on you, so sorry if I am and you're not actually agreeing with me. So I always say things like, and I know you're thinking this, I know you're rolling your eyes, and I know you want to leave. That's because I was so skeptical to this work. And even though I was able to somehow, some way get my business to 20K months, not loving myself at all, looking at myself in the mirror and literally crying at how disgusting and ugly I was, literally this year I would do that, constantly having skeptical thoughts in my relationship of how I didn't deserve the relationship I was in and how I wasn't appreciated and which is all a lie. Like, I went through that, and then I was doing that in my business too. So like what? You just believed it and sold. Kind of. We're going to talk about that, Shauna. But I did that in my programs too. So it was like, I'm going to put 20K on my price point because my coach said I'm worthy of it. But who's going to pay 20K? And what if they don't get results? And what if I have to give a 20K refund? And what if this? And what if people don't pay? And this is the thing. It was because I believed it, and it was because I love myself. And maybe some of you guys don't see this yet in me, but I can't tell you how many people over the last few months have been like, Taylor, you look different, you sound different, you're acting different, your posts are like so bold and confident, like your confidence is showing, like people can see that I've changed, right? And that feels weird to say, but I've been told that by like a shit ton of people. Like every single day people are telling me that for like the past 6 months. And people really see it. And here's the thing, we have so much more to talk about. But have you guys ever heard, I was going to say that, yeah, people want to be like, oh, so what? And Shauna, I'm not saying you're that skeptical person that's talking in this voice, but bear with me. People are like, oh, so you just love yourself and your program sells. Or, oh, so you just believe it's going to sell and it sells. No, but yes. Because when you actually do, and I don't mean journaling it over and over and over, but when you get fed up and you actually do, you literally change. You look different, you sound different, you know, all this stuff is going to happen. And it's not even about your looks, but, you know those people you're like, oh my God, her skin's glowing. And like, people like comment that stuff on my photos. And I'm like, what? I haven't washed my face in 5 days. Like, what? Just kidding. It really hasn't been 5 days, but, yeah, you've changed a lot. Thank you. Yeah. See? And this is not me trying to talk about myself, but whatever. Law of attraction has a lot to do with our success too. I agree, Sarah. I totally agree. By the way, guys, I'm scrolling through comments. Oh yeah, Sarah, if you focus on what you don't want more than what you do want, you will get what you don't want. And if you guys think you don't believe in law of attraction, like think about how that actually has happened a million times. Yay. Love you, Shauna. Shauna, I want to see you so bad before you leave. By the way, Shauna's kind of local to me. We live a little bit farther than we used to now, but. Okay, so that's a big one. And again, we already said the raising the price thing. So I think we've already talked about that, right? And someone said, how are you going to raise your prices if it's not a reselling? So that's the topic we're on. So again, when you love yourself more and you accept your value, you're going to want to raise your rates. It's just going to be a no-brainer, right? Like for me, sometimes 20K feels low, you know, which I still have that little voice in me that's like, what? Like it is impossible to charge more than 20K. Whereas before I thought it was impossible for me to ever charge 10K. I never thought I would be that coach. I didn't even want that at a certain point. And here's key too, guys, with your prices. There is this concept that I believe in, and maybe it has a name, but I don't know, where if you can, this is so stupid, totally stealing this from somebody. I don't know why this just popped into my head. If you can think it, you can achieve it, okay? So corny. But I believe this. I believe there is a reason that you can imagine yourself charging 10K right now. And some of you are watching this and you're like, nope, I'm never going to charge 10K. I don't want to charge 10K. That's ridiculous. Nobody can afford that. That's stealing money from people, right? So, yeah, so I totally have been there. I was there with 20K months. I don't ever want 20K months. Who needs 20K months? That's ridiculous. But then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but after a little bit of time, I started imagining making 20K months and I started seeing where that money would go, right? It might be Tony Robbins. I don't follow him, but I'm sure I think like that's one of those quotes that you see on like Instagram and stuff, right? So, but I really do think that quote is spot on. If you can think it, you can achieve it. There's a reason why you can imagine yourself making 20K months, and there's all these people in the world that cannot even fathom it. They don't even want it, right? It's just like starting a business. There's so many people who flat out do not want to be an entrepreneur. Or a locker room. There's so many people that do not want to be an entrepreneur, and you did, and you do. So you are, and you were able to. 10K. Some of you may be like, I don't ever want to charge 10K. But those of you who are watching this who are like, yeah, there's a part of me that wants to charge 10K, you have to raise your rates to it. And you can raise your rates to it, more importantly. Melissa, the 20K program is just, well, it's not just, I don't know if we need to explain it very in depth right now, but it's just 4 months, 90-minute intensive, 11 45-minute sessions. All your calls are recorded. You get notes for every single one of your calls from me. You get intuitive insight and homework from me for each call after the call. You get unlimited Voxer support. And then, of course, like everything else that I typically give, like you get support from me and all that. It's not about what's included. It's just about doing it. I want to charge 10K without working as hard. You can. And you should be, right? And you have to. That's how you have to start thinking of it. You have to. Okay. Here's another one. Here's number 3 out of 5. When you finally love yourself more and you accept your value, number 3 is that this is going to help you with 10K cash months. Why? Because you are only going to do programs that you are aligned with. So how many of you put a yes in the chat? No, just. Thank you, Rosella. I'm like, oh, well, it's just, it's deeper than that. And you have to be willing to really commit. Like, it's not even worth talking about if it's not a private conversation, because you have to be really willing to commit, and you have to have that connection where it's like the right thing to do. Okay, so you do programs that you're more aligned with. So put a yes in the chat if you've done this. You've asked yourself, okay, what do people want from me? What do people expect from me? What are people gonna buy? What are people willing to pay for right now? What price point is a no-brainer for people? Like, you're not thinking, what would be so much freaking fun to sell? What price point do I really want to sell it at? You're thinking about all these marketing things that you've kind of been taught to ask, but nobody actually really teaches to do it that way. I mean, maybe they do, but I don't really think so. But you're actually doing all of your market research and all of your launch strategy, you're doing flat out of fear. When you're asking yourself, what's going to sell? What do people want from me? What are people going to buy right now? What are people asking for? What's a no-brainer price, right? And you're putting this thing together based off of what you're thinking you're going to sell. And how many of you have done that? Because I have probably 20 different times at least put together a program where it made total sense. People were begging me for it. It was a no-brainer price and nobody bought. I've had programs this year not sell for $200. Okay? It is not about the price. It is not about the structure. It is not about the things that are included. It's not about the topic. It's the same thing. I'm like, it keeps looking like I'm spitting, but there's like fuzzy from the light going on in front of me. Really weird. There has been, what was I going to say? It has to be aligned. Guys, I just get blank mind moments, but I'm glad that you guys have done this. Well, I'm not glad that you've done it, but I'm glad that you guys get where I'm going with this. Oh, just like with your pricing thing, where it's like, if you can think it, you can achieve it, or whatever we're saying. If you can believe it, you can achieve it, whatever it is. It's the same thing with your programs. If there is something on your heart to talk about, right? So for me, with some of the stuff I've moved into talking about, I didn't even want to do this live stream. Like, I want to tell you all the strategic things, and we are talking strategy, right? But it's not just about, I could get on here and say, okay, if you want to get to 10K cash months, raise your prices, sell programs that you want to sell. Like, I could teach you how to create really good program, but like, that's not actually it. It's about loving yourself. And my whole year, people have been like, Taylor, what was your income goal for this year? And like, how did you plan your year? I didn't have an income goal for this year. I literally did not. I mean, as of January, yeah, I wanted to make 500K. After January, I dropped it because I was exhausted, miserable, anxious, and going through a lot of shit. And I literally said, I do not care how much money I make this year. I'm focusing on myself. I want to be happy. I want to be energized. I want to be excited. And so it was all about me this year. And I had to be selfish with that because I was giving so much, right? And now that I actually love myself and I believe in myself and I let myself talk about this stuff, it's so much better. So it is about that, right? Oh, but what I'm saying is I didn't want to get on this live stream and say that line. That's why I read it. Right? Because I believe it, but I'm afraid if you guys aren't going to believe it. You're going to be like, what the hell got into Taylor? Where's my strategy? Right? Which is all in my head because you guys are loving it and hanging out with me. But this is just me sharing the truth, right? So I had to read the line about if you want to make 10K cash months, you have to love yourself and accept your value. Right? That's what's aligned with me because that is the truth. That's just the truth. If I did not say that to you guys, I would be out of integrity because that is not my truth. Raising your prices is not what gets you there. It's about loving yourself so that you literally can't stand that the past you actually charged what you charge, right? And you're like, I have to raise my prices. Like, this is ridiculous. When you say you love yourself, what does that mean exactly? It means putting yourself first, which is really, really hard. I don't know. This is interesting. It means making yourself number one, which is what I was taught. Putting yourself first. So what does that look like? It looks like I'll tell you in all areas of my life. So for like business, it looked like not caring what people cared or what people thought about what I was saying. So speaking my truth, only doing the programs that were exciting to me, charging the rates I wanted to charge, even though I didn't know exactly if people were going to buy or not. Because guys, this is a secret I'm letting you guys in on, but I had never known ever with anything I've ever launched that people were going to buy it. Like, it's not like when I raised my prices to 20K, I knew people were going to buy it because 10K was selling off the shelves, right? It was not that at all. So it was that in my business and it means in all areas. So with my health, it meant instead of trying to lose weight and track calories, it was actually not caring what I weighed and buying groceries that were like mostly fruits and vegetables and that were healthy. And when I did that detox, it wasn't about losing weight or tracking anything. It was about eating foods that were better for me, right? Drinking more water, taking care of yourself. And in my personal life, it was like, instead of like literally telling Frankie every single thing that I wanted to do and not holding back in case that it would be inconvenient for him, or like maybe he didn't want to go out to eat and maybe I was like not being a good girlfriend because he had been at work all day. And if I said I wanted to go out, he'd be like, oh, like I'm so tired, I want to stay home, but I wanted to go out, right? I used to do that like in my relationships and stuff. With my family too, it meant not doing stuff because my family thought if I was going to go see them, it was a waste of money to stay in a hotel. Like I should stay in my parents' house that I do not want to stay in. And not making myself go home because I haven't been home in a while and they miss me, right? Only going home when I want to. Which sometimes is every month and sometimes is in 6 months, right? It's just with everything. What do you want and acting on that? Which I know is really, really hard when you are first starting. But everyone can do that. I love your ability to talk about your vulnerabilities and that you're not perfect. This is refreshing, as some coaches I've watched are not as real. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for saying that and meaning it. Means accepting, believing. Yeah. I love that, Rosella. Well, yeah, because it's all the stuff we're doing in our personal lives, right? And you know what else loving yourself means is acting on the fear instead of using the fear as an excuse to delay what you want to actually do. So raising the rates now because you know you want it, and talking about what you want to talk about now because you don't want to talk about what you've been talking about. And some of you may not be struggling with this as much as me, but I'm sure some of you are, and that's why you're here. For me, this summer, I came to this big realization where I was like, I'm not saying, like, I'm filtering 90% of what I say. So, like, 10% of what I say is Taylor. You know what I mean? Like, 90% of what I was saying was who everybody wanted Taylor to be, or what would be comfortable for everyone to hear, or what would avoid confrontation or confusion. You know, like, I wouldn't even tell people what my business was. I'd say, literally, guys, after making over 200K in my business, I had this moment where I told somebody that I was telling people all the time this, but it was just a realization at that point. I was telling people that I built websites and did social media for people because they just understood that better. When people were paying me $10,000 to consult them. And like, there was this point too where my dad was like, how much I was making. I had already had an $80,000 month at this point, right? Sales month. Where my dad was like, oh, what's the most amount of money you've ever made in a day? And I'm like, oh, haha, you know, like delay. And he's like $1,000. And I was like, yes, like a little bit more than that. Because it might make him uncomfortable, or it might just be awkward if like I said, oh, I've made, you know, $10,000 cash in a day. Oh, thank you, Kiana. We were just talking about that. Yeah. So it's just stuff like that. It's just, there's so much bullshit going on in our lives where we're holding back. And you know what else it's about? I think this is Sarah who just said this. It's about not caring if you don't seem perfect. So I love myself as if I am the most perfect human being walking on this earth, and that I cannot do anything wrong and I cannot fuck it up. Yet I get on here and I share it all authentically because it's the truth, you know? And I still go through anxiety and I still have stuff like that happen, but I share the 100% truth. And I don't care if you judge me. I don't care if a client doesn't want to re-sign because I'm not perfect and they find out I'm not perfect like I used to be, you know? Just had a conversation with my coach about something like that today. Cool. Wow, guys, we haven't even gotten to number 4. I feel like that was kind of a fake voice, but whatever, we're gonna go with it. Number 4. When you finally love yourself and you accept your value, the 4th thing that you're going to start doing is taking care of yourself and feeling more energized. So what I just went on a whole spiel about. This is common sense, okay? So many of you, and me in the past, are very afraid to take time off, to not work 12 hours a day at our computer, and to step back, right? We don't take care of ourselves. We're eating junk that we don't actually want to eat. We are not sleeping enough. We're working all day through the night. and some people think that guys, this is common sense. Your mind is telling you falsely that that's the way you're going to make more money, that it's going to take some hustle, that it's going to take some hard work. And I think working a full 8-hour day, I've been doing that all week, right? I've been working the same hours as Frankie. Actually, more than him, because when he's commuting, I'm actually working. So, right? So I'm working a lot this week. However, I am taking breaks and I am eating good food, mostly. And I am moving my body and I am taking the evenings totally off and disconnected at like 80%. Like, I'm not doing any of that perfectly, but I'm doing it. So that's why I'm not on here like, hey guys, so today we're going to talk about this. I don't know how to work without killing myself. I just had this condo with my friend. Yeah, Shauna, we need to talk about that. I wonder, well, Shauna, and here's the thing too, like, I just heard Chalene Johnson say this. She was talking about getting enough sleep, and she was like, there's no excuse why you can't get enough sleep. Oh, by the way, if you're a new mom, it doesn't count, but I'm sorry, like, you'll get through this. So, Shauna, you have a little bit of an excuse, but you still have to find as many ways as possible to take care of yourself and put yourself first, because that's what your kids need and that's what your clients need you to do. But Shalene said that and I thought of you. Melissa, I might have to get on my computer and read your comment because it's cutting off. I'm feeling like I should offer a shorter, lower price program. All the feedback I'm getting is people don't have the money, but yet I'm charging what other clients have already paid, so I feel like I'm good enough. Yeah, it has nothing to do with what you're charging. Well, it actually might. You might need to charge more. You actually do need to charge more. If you're still charging $5K, you have to charge more. And I know that makes no sense. And the other thing, Melissa, is that you have to focus on community and get over being afraid of it being hard to grow it and nurture it, and focus more on building your brand than signing the client. And the client is going to come so quickly from that. Okay. Yay, my assistant liked our video. Okay. Taking care of yourself. It's common. Oh, here's why I didn't even get to the point. It's common sense because I feel like I just had like a 10-second delay of like zoning out and not saying anything. It's common sense because when you take care of yourself and you feel energized, your work is going to be better. It's common sense. We think we have to work more to make more and to get everything done. But there's another concept, I believe, and that is when we work less, suddenly things get done faster, and suddenly the stuff that's not getting done doesn't actually matter. So strategically, is everything that you're doing adding to your bottom line right now, right? And is it adding to your bottom line? Because there's this really interesting balance we have to find between adding to our bottom line and making more money right now and working towards our big vision. And I've done a lot of thinking and strategizing about this today for my business of, yes, I'm doing stuff right now for money right now, but how does this connect to the big vision? Which it does so clearly, right? Like, I'm not going to get into it, but it's so important to make sure that we're focusing on right now, like quick results. And also, oh God, I missed a ton of comments. Oh God. Okay, cool. 7-year season, Melissa, don't do it. I know it's so frustrating. You can do it, Melissa. Melissa, I've heard a unit audit. People couldn't afford it. Kiana, that is laughable that they could not afford the $9 YouTube audit. I would have paid somebody, actually I have paid, Kiana, that should be at least $300 for like a very special low price quick offer. If not, like, because what you're giving people for the YouTube audit is really good. And then you get to have, my team gets to implement that forever, right? Like, I literally am like, here team, go do everything Kiana said. Like, Don't talk to me. Don't make me think about it. Right? Oh God, if you guys knew all the stuff I've paid for that, like, yeah. Balance between adding to our bottom line and working towards a bigger vision. Yep. Yeah. Smaller offers are actually okay because they do get people into our world that, and Kiana, when I say 300, I don't mean like that's what it should always be or what it can only be. I just mean like, if people can't even pay at least that much for it, they are crazy. And that's like with no support or questions from you. That's like just a basic tips. Anyway, that's a whole other topic. Anyway, smaller programs are great because that's where, like, for me, people, my time with a single client and customer is usually a year to a year and a half, meaning usually most people who buy from me keep buying for a year or more. And that could be privately, one-on-one, or that could be all my other offers. But most people will stick around for at least that long until they like outgrow. Or, because, you know, I mean, some coaches will say that you need to work with them forever. I don't necessarily believe that. And I have people that will take 6 months off with me and then they come back and they're like, I need you. I mean, I've had 2 people tell me that today, that their business, the highest points in their business was working with me, and it's never been as high since. And so maybe there are times when people do need you longer than a year or whatever, or people come back, but Taylor's, yeah. So I think that's really cool. But this is what I mean. I mean too, like, people will buy something for $99. Like my client that I just was talking to before our live stream, it's a $10,000 client. They're signing up for another $8,000 with me, and a program that is totally not available to anyone else, only them, because they are amazing, easy, and have worked with me for so long. But they bought like a $27 product, a $67 product, a $97 product, $5,000 mastermind, $10,000 coaching, and now $8,000, like just a little bit of support for a couple months, you know? So how long is that? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That will put them working with me for a year, which is cool. Meaning, it's great to have different offers, and it's great to have a path that people can follow, and people are going to do the path in all different ways, right? Like, I don't really love when strategists teach, like, okay, you need these steps, like, people are going to start here and work their way up. No, I have people join in the middle and work their way around, and I have people join at the top and stay up there, and sometimes it drives me nuts, but I'll see a $20,000 or $10,000 client buy one of my $97 things, and I'm like, I would have just given that to you if you asked, but okay. I've actually refunded clients for doing that. I'm like, please don't buy my other stuff. Like, I'll just give it to you, and most of it you don't need anyway, but I do think it's great to have different offers, but I think that comes with community, because I built my community before I built my business. Gotta go get ready for a date with Boo. Ooh, have fun. Cool. Number 5, guys, because we should probably wrap this up. But this has been really fun chatting with you guys. So number 5, when you love yourself and you finally accept your value, is that you will share your truth and from your heart, which makes your content a million times better. When you are not filtering yourself, when you are not trying to be marketing and trying to sell the right way. Like I do with my private clients, I teach them how to write really good content, and I tweak their content actually for them all the time. And I am like a Google Doc addict, where my clients send me everything in Google Docs and I just go through it with them. I even do that in my group programs. I love it, but I think it adds a really different element to our coaching. However, most of the time the issue is that they're trying too hard. You know, because guys, right now people are like, the market's so saturated and Facebook groups are so like spammy and busy, or all the Facebook group rules are changing, or, you know, it's so hard to stand out. So it's like, it is hard to stand out, but it's not, because everybody, like, there's 2 or 3 strategies out there that people are using in Facebook groups. Okay. Most people are using the same one strategy. If Kiana hasn't jumped off yet, she did a pretty hilarious post in my group that I'm still processing what I want to say about it. But she mentioned that, like, everybody in my group and all the groups really sound the same. And I know that can be triggering for you and maybe offensive to you, and like, but I try so hard on my post and I'm writing from my heart. You're probably not. Rosella, you are doing a great job of this. Follow Rosella, guys. her content is so amazing right now, like better than anything she's ever put out there, because she's not filtering herself, I don't think, you know, like it's raw and it's real and it's very vulnerable, and I feel like she's not trying and she's not filtering herself, and it just really like you can tell like that. When somebody posts something different, it's like such a breath of fresh air, and everybody is going to watch it. The people that are above you, below you, whatever, they're all going to stop, drop, and watch. I'm definitely not filtering myself. Yeah, and sometimes you probably want to. Like, if I say this, am I going to sound batshit crazy, right? Yes, you probably will, and that's okay, because that's what works. And you don't have to try to be batshit crazy, but it's you just share your truth and what you actually believe. And usually people don't think you're as crazy as you feel like you're going to seem. And it's not even about being crazy. It's just about standing out, you know? I don't talk about anything super taboo. I'm not like this badass, like bitchy coach that like calls people out. Like that helps some coaches stand out, right? Like they're super bitchy and mean and kind of scary. And I don't talk about like sex in all of my posts and like talk about like taboo topics. And I don't really have any like hilarious, bizarre, super adventurous stories, but I do just share my story, and I share who I am, and I share my faults, because that's relatable, and that's why people hire you. And all the time I get this fear of, what are my clients gonna think? What are people who are thinking about hiring me gonna think when they find out I'm not perfect? And every time I just have to keep going, because I do know that the more relatable I can appear, because I am I mean, maybe you don't relate to me, but I'm pretty normal, right? The better. People do not want to, I mean, some people are going to hire those people on the pedestal because, I mean, I had somebody in the past, a client, Facebook ad launch client, right? We did about 500K in about 6 months. It was really cool. And she told me that she really admired this coach that she was working with, and she wanted to really use her strategy. And she goes, I really love this coach. She goes, like, when you get on a sales call with her, it feels like such a big deal. And like, she's so mysterious. She doesn't live stream. Like, she doesn't talk about her life. Like, she just has this like mysterious celebrity vibe. Do you know what I mean? I was like, no, I don't like that. I want coaches who are not perfect, because I am not perfect and I cannot be perfect. Some people like batshit crazy coaches, especially if they are the same type of person. I'd be more likely to hire someone who is like you and not as stiff as a board. Yeah. Yeah, and then there's the coaches who are kind of hard asses, and that's okay too, but you just have to be you. Like, I used to think I love the word badass, and the word that I really try to feel into when I'm trying to up level is badass, but I used to think I had to be badass and like harsh and blunt and mean and kind of scary, and that's so weird to think that I would have to be that for people to pay me, because that sounds terrible. Whereas I'm actually just kind of quirky and kind of funny maybe, and silly and sweet and happy, right? I think. Like, I am definitely not the kind of person that likes to go on Facebook and just call people out and talk shit, right? Unless I got to stick up for one of my biz besties, then I'll do it. Cool. Okay, guys, so that's it. The 5 things. I wanted to go through here and like audit them with you and like ask you some questions, but you're not really missing anything. But write these 5 things down and really look at your business on where you need to go deeper with these. So it's stop when you love yourself and accept yourself. Write that at the top of your notes. Excuse me. Stop feeling like you need more and actually allow yourself to master what you're already doing. Raise your rates. Do programs that are aligned with you. Take care of yourself and feel energized, and share your truth, right? Those are the 5 things you're going to start doing that are going to help you so much.